I'm promoting to panelist right now.
There he is. Yeah, okay.
Hey, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Kanaga. I'd like to now call the public meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals to order. We have an agenda. The first item of business on the public agenda is a review of the decision for case number 2172, Courier Luke. Mr. Ford, would you want to take us through that?
Yeah, this is a special permit granted for, by the board unanimously, with conditions to operate a retail marijuana facility to the applicant. I was asked to assist in preparing the decision in light of the fact that given the unfortunate passing away of Mr. Marnick, who was going to prepare this decision. I reviewed, Mr. Mulligan, the draft decision submitted by the applicant and also reviewed the transcript. And I prepared the decision that's before you. I thought the applicant's proposal was fair and it was consistent with the evidence, but it was not in the form that you usually have for your decisions, nor a form that, frankly, I was comfortable with when it came to the conditions.
Right.
So you'll see where I put the findings in. They're fairly consistent with the findings that the applicant had, and they're consistent with the evidence. But I called out the conditions so that they would be separate and one would be sure that they were conditions of the approval. So this is really not something that requires a revote. This is something that just requires the signature of the chair.
Right.
These decisions do not require the full board to vote and approve, but I think your request, Mr. Mulligan, was since the passage of time had occurred and this was an important decision, not that they all aren't, but you wanted to make sure that the rest of the board didn't have questions before you signed it and filed it with the town clerk. So
That's right. Correct.
happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Are there any questions for Mr. Ford on the decision? I presume you've all had a chance to read it. Are there any questions or concerns in the opinion? I thought the opinion expressed very well what the hearing had produced. Any other questions about that? Great. So we don't need to vote. Mr. Ford, thank you very much.
Okay, good to see you all. Take
We
care.
appreciate your counsel.
All right. Good to see you as well, Mr. Kananga.
Good to see you, Mr. Ford.
All right, the next item of business in older business is the review of the minutes of December 7. You all have the minutes of December 7. Are there any questions or comments on those minutes? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we'll call the roll. Matt,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
and I am too, so that's unanimous. Next is the review of the minutes from the December 21st minutes. You have those. You have both the minutes of the, well, let's do them together. You have the public meeting, which is just a continuation because of lack of a quorum. And then you have the minutes for the executive session. Are there any comments or concerns or questions about either of those sets of minutes? Do I have a motion to approve them, both minutes?
I'll move yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All right, let's call the roll. Matt,
Abstain.
Emily.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Matt wasn't there. I'm sorry. Sorry, Matt. Emily
Yes.
and Lynn,
Yes.
then I'm there. So we got a vote of 3-0. All right, the next item of business is a new business, and it's a continuation of several times, for which the board apologizes. For case number 2189, Michael Carson and Sean Smith have applied for a special permit in accordance with section 164-21A side setback. Mr. Kanaga, please. Are you presenting, Mr. Kanaga?
am. Sorry, I broke up there for a second.
Yeah.
Are you ready for me?
Yes, please.
So good evening and thanks for being here. And I understand we had several continuations, so it's we're finally here, but we're just on a fairly small and for me relatively non-controversial project. I think it's for 5 Harborview East.
That's what they all say, Mr. Kanaga.
Well, I mean,
I'm only kidding.
My clients, Mike Carson and Sean Smith, are with us tonight. It's an application for an alteration to a pre-existing non-conforming structure under these Orleans zoning bylaws. My clients are seeking to add a small amount of area in a lawfully non-conforming portion of their existing deck, and actually the structure as well is right there, but the deck is the only portion that's being extended. If you look at the pictures I sent in the packet, you can see a picture, I believe it's picture number 2. It shows the current rinsing station tucked under the deck in the bushes. And this will, be better for both access and aesthetic with just a small addition. And although the project is small, my clients should benefit from it greatly because of the easy access, and they have small children. So access to any rinsing station is huge in my mind. The Orleans zoning bylaws mirroring the general laws, the Commonwealth, section 164(3)(c)(2) allows other non-conforming structures or uses may be altered, reconstructed, extended, or structurally changed by special permit from the Board of Appeals if the Board of Appeals finds that such alteration will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure or use. I know you all are well aware, but for purposes of my presentation, section 164(44) of the Orleans zoning bylaw authorizes you as the board to give special permit when you determine that the use will not be more detrimental, and you're directed to consider the 8 categories of whether it is or is not substantial. The first is the site adequate for the proposed use? It's a residential use in a residential district, so it's appropriate. It's suitable. It's it will conform with the surrounding neighborhood, and it's suitable for its existing purpose. It will not, the traffic flow will not change on the visual impact, if anything, will be better. The visual neighborhood, as you know, it's going to remove the view from underneath the deck there. And actually my clients are working with the closest neighbor to shield it, and she's in favor of the project. It's just I'm not sure she's here tonight, but the closest neighbor on the inside who gets the direct would have had that view. The method of sewage disposal is not changing. The site has adequate septic and will comply with Title V and Orleans Board of Health nutrient management requirements. The utilities are not changing. The proposed project will not cause any undue noise or litter, except for anticipated construction noise for a short time. And then the proposed change in use will not have any detrimental effect on groundwater quality, recharge volume, or water quality of coastal and freshwater bodies. We recognize, and my clients recognize, these are valuable natural resources, and nothing in the use or in this small change will affect those. They're not within the conservation jurisdiction or anything like that.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on members of the board? Any questions?
As I've said before, I have to recuse on this case. We needed Bruce for this, or we do need Bruce for this. I don't know what we can do other than continue, have him watch the tapes, or hope that he jumps on.
Apologize, I don't mean to jump in. I saw that I wasn't sure if Mr. Todd was here or not when I was first logged on. I wish I had grabbed Mr. Ford for a governmental ethics opinion, because I know there is a provision when there is when the quorum is destroyed by someone having to recuse due to a conflict, they can stay for a quorum, but I don't want to give you an ethics, obviously give you a governmental ethics opinion. I wish he was here. I wish I'd caught him. Because we've had it on the Board of Health when actually all 5 of us had a conflict with the applicant. But I think I understand Mr. Cole's concern.
This is very embarrassing for the board. We have had to continue you for a couple of times. And I made that little joke, but in fact, it is a de minimis application, Mr. Kanaga. I don't know, sort of stumped. Are we beyond the constructive approval? What's the term, Matt? Constructive?
Constructive grant would be 100 days, I believe.
Are we there yet?
I think it may get destroyed by the request in writing, which is
Oh, yeah, that's our old trick.
I think I may have caused that to begin with. But I can, I wish I'm not sure I have Mr. Ford's, but I also understand Mr. Cole doesn't want to put himself in a precarious situation, so.
I've forgotten. I keep associating you with another case, Matt, to just recuse. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Mr. Kanaga. We haven't got a quorum for your application. And it's embarrassing. And I apologize to your clients, the petitioners. And I don't see any problem with this application in the least.
Would it be possible to, if Mr. Todd review this and then the vote could be held after, instead of presentation, or?
Yeah, right, because we're not going to meet again for 2 more weeks. And you never can tell what we're going to have in 2 more weeks. What you can do, Mr. Kanaga, is find some alternates for us to serve on this board. Why don't I do that? Why don't we say that let me just, all right, let's get a sense of this board. Are there any, Lynn and Emily, do you have any questions or concerns about this application?
No. No.
And you'd be prepared to vote for it if we come to a vote?
Yes. Yes.
As would I. Let me do that, Mr. Kanaga. I'll try to contact Mr. Taub, see if we can get him to review this tape or these, and the application is pretty straightforward, frankly. And see if we can get this done shortly. And you and I will stay in touch.
If he's in town, I can stick around and jump on a Zoom back on the Zoom if he's in town.
I think he's not in town tonight because he said he was
Okay.
going to be somewhere where he didn't know he'd be able to sign in.
Okay.
But I'll contact him and if he feels he needs to ask you some questions, we'll arrange that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll speak with him and we'll do a circular vote with the board once he's back. Okay.
2 points. Do we want to make sure to entertain any public comment just to finish out the hearing completely? And then the second point is, if 3 of us can do, if we only need 3 for an administrative matter, if the board finds that the matter is de minimis and doesn't require board approval, can 3 make that finding rather than 4?
Well, I wouldn't want to make that judgment that
Okay.
an increase in the non-conformance and setback is doesn't need board consideration, Matt. It's a good thought, creative, but I'm not comfortable doing that. But I do. What was your first point about the 3 of them being? We can do administrative things, but we can't do granting of variances or special permits.
Yeah, our first point is just about public comment. Make sure we.
Oh,
close
yeah,
out.
yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Is there anyone else in the audience or attending tonight who wishes to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Yeah, there being no one appearing, so there's no comment. Well, let me do that, Mr. Kanaga. I'll reach out to Bruce, see if we can get him to opine on this, and then I'll circulate a vote to the board and get back to you in as short a time as we can.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your patience. And again, to your clients, I apologize. We're embarrassed. It's not how things should be, but we're stuck with a 5-member board and we need 4 people to, we don't have any alternates. So if someone misses, we're in a tough spot.
Understood. We appreciate consideration.
Yeah, very good. And especially for a matter of this, you've been very patient and waiting a long time for a relatively minor matter. And I'm sorry about that. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kanaga. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
The
Thanks, everybody.
next matter for our consideration is the application of International Fund for Animal Welfare. They've applied for variance as set forth in 164.13. Is there, oh yeah, Mr. Sharp, are you here representing the International Fund for Animal Welfare?
I am.
Are you prepared to make a presentation?
I am. If it pleases the board.
All right, please do.
Good evening. Thank you to the board for allowing us this opportunity. As you see from the paperwork, we applied for variance after additional discussion with the town. It sounds like the opinion of the board and discussion with the town planner was that a special permit would apply to this application better. So we seek that from the board, and I'm prepared to address that tonight. My name is Brian Sharp. I direct the International Fund for Animal Welfare's Marine Mammal Rescue and Research Program. We're a international nonprofit based out of Yarmouthport on Willow Street in Yarmouthport. Many of you may be familiar with. Our marine mammal rescue team that I direct has the federal permit for live and dead marine mammal stranding response throughout southeastern Massachusetts, which is significant because this is the area of the highest dolphin strandings in the world. As part of that, one of the things that we have been planning and preparing is a next step in the work that we do, an innovative next step to look at ways to improve survivability of stranded dolphins through a short-term critical intensive care unit that would be able to allow us to provide care for borderline candidates that strand for no more than 96 hours, so 4 days of care in an effort to increase the survivability of these animals after release. Again, because Cape Cod is so unique as the world stranding hotspot for dolphins, this is the ideal place to do this work and learn and then share that information internationally. That area covers within our coverage area from Barnstable Harbor to Wellfleet Harbor. So Orleans is an ideal location for that. What it would consist of would be a facility that would have 1 to 2 rehabilitation, above ground rehabilitation pools. These would be 16-foot diameter pools, a small lab space, small office space that would again allow us to be able to care for borderline dolphins for up to 96 hours. The reason for the 96 hours is from a federal permitting standpoint. That is the maximum amount of time that we can provide care under this provision. It also, due to the busyness of this area, this is not planned to be a long-term rehabilitation center because we would put ourselves out of business immediately. by filling the pools and then having to say no to every animal that strands after that. So that's where we're looking to create this innovative pilot project that is proposed for 3 years. We're going to be looking and using metrics of our previous satellite tagging of dolphins to measure success and then determine if the project is meeting our objectives of increasing post-release survival as to whether the project will continue on past the initial 3-year pilot project. As I mentioned earlier, the proposal itself would be for 2 pools, lab space, and office space within a rented facility. After an extensive search of commercial properties from Yarmouthport to Orleans, the property that is listed, many of you know it as the old Orleans Auto that has been vacant for some time on 6A. Was identified as the ideal location for us based off the site's construction and other factors that we figured in as far as considering this. I can
Mr. Shop, let me ask you a
Oh,
couple of
please.
questions.
Absolutely.
You mentioned you have a lab there, so there'll be scientific work being done on the premises?
Yes, we have veterinarians and biologists as part of our staff. So yeah, we would be looking at, and it would be basic drawing blood from the animals, looking at hematology, so, looking at the blood of these animals and things like that. So, and also providing care.
The reason so you understand, the reason I've asked that is that I think we're going to we're going to allow you to amend your application to apply for a special permit under section 164.16, which is accessory scientific uses. And it sounds as though with a lab and doing research on these animals and their conditions, that satisfies the requirement for scientific accessory uses. Are you also doing education? Are you taking kids into train? Are you doing that? Did I hear that?
Part of the federal guidelines for marine mammal rehabilitation, it stipulates there should be no public viewing. This is for the safety of the animals, to try to reduce stimulus for that. That doesn't preclude a closed circuit or TV camera that's fed to a monitor that could be, if it pleases the town, and they find that, and it's found that is desirable. The property is large enough that we could construct a small static display education display at the front of the facility. If you're familiar with that storefront, it is very large, glassed open. We would have to construct an interior wall so that there's no visual, no direct visual of the pool. But it does mean that we could install a TV monitor and a camera so that if people are interested, they could see the activities that are going on, and also learn a little bit about the animals of the area and what makes this so unique.
All right. Let me do this, Mr. Sharp. I'm going to read you the requirements of a special permit, the things you have to satisfy ourselves to, and you can react to them and see how your proposal fits. Is the site adequate in terms of size for the proposed use?
It is.
And it's suitable for the site? It's a suitable use for the property, proposed use?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, after an extensive search of the area from Yarmouthport to Orleans, because of our home base and of most of our response equipment in Yarmouthport, we did not want to be too far away from that. So that was the reason why we chose that area. And so an extensive search of commercial properties, this was the most ideal location for that.
Okay. Do you expect any impact on traffic flow and safety? Do a lot of people come in?
We do not. There's ample parking down the north side. I was looking at the property, the left side of the facility, that will allow for the staff that will be working there. When there are not patients in the facility, we expect only 2 to 3 staff that will be there. When animals are in care and animals, we will have increased number of staff there, but it will not exceed the capacity of that left parking lot.
Are you making any changes to the exterior of the building?
We are not proposing any. The only thing that we would want to do is construct or erect a sign that would fit local standards and that would simply identify the location or identify what it is, but we would make sure that that sign was modest and fit the local character.
All right. Adequate sewage disposal?
Yeah, the only sewage disposal will be for, there currently are 2 existing bathrooms in that property. And we would be installing 2 additional sinks just outside of those bathrooms. The water source from the pools would be municipal water supply. This was discussed with the Orleans Water Department during our site use review meeting and ruling that we had prior to this. The only request we had from the water department was that we have a backflow preventer be used, which we, yes, most definitely would be employed. And then the water in the rehabilitation pools, we will be making salt water in the pools. That will not be re-entering the town sewage system. When that water needs to be removed, we'll be employing a wastewater contract company to come in and pump out the pool. So there will be no salt water. It's completely isolated from the town system. So there will be no chance of salt water re-entering or entering the town sewage system.
Very good. And is adequate utilities and other public services?
Yes, the existing utilities and services will meet the needs of the facility. We don't expect any need for increase or with what is available currently.
All right. Do you anticipate any noise or additional litter?
The construction of the facility itself, it's a very sturdy building. It's all concrete construction, which is part of what drew us to it. Is advantageous because it'll isolate sound. One of the things that we're concerned about is exterior neighborhood sound. Since there will be patients in the facility for their well-being, and also pursuant to the federal NOAA rehabilitation guidelines, there will be a pool filtration system that will be internal to the building. So emitted noise will be minimal to none. Other than the normal existing HVAC sounds that you would hear currently from it. Garbage will be removed regularly from the premises by our staff and possibly through a garbage collection service. And then the site will be maintained and kept clean of neighborhood litter.
Great. And lastly, you're not going to discharge any water on the site or in any way impact the groundwater of the property?
Correct. Efforts will be made to clean and reuse the pool water whenever possible. And as I mentioned, any rehabilitation pool water will be pumped out through a wastewater treatment service so that it does not, it's a closed system, so there's no chance of it re-entering the town sewage system.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments by other members of the board? Do I have a motion on the application?
So moved.
So moved, Emily. Is there a second? Lynn, did you second?
I actually moved, but I think I was muted, so I can second.
Okay, great. So I'll call
Just
the
quick-
roll.
Quick discussion before we
Yeah.
call roll. What is because this application was for variance and we're, I believe, moving forward with a special permit. What is the, what specific section of the bylaw are we granting relief under?
164-16.
164-16. Thank you.
which is accessory scientific uses. Any other questions or comments or concerns? All right, there's a motion. I'd like to call the roll. Emily,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
I'm also a yes. So that's a 4-0 unanimous approval. You have your approval, Mr. Sharp. We'll get I'll put together a decision and file it with the clerk in the near future.
Excellent. Well, thank you to the board for your consideration, and yes, we look forward to working with the town of Orleans. So thank you.
Yeah, good luck with your program.
Thank you.
And what else? Anything else on the agenda here? The
I'd
only,
like to thank the board on their the decision on that case.
well, you're very welcome. Very welcome. We're here to serve the town. That's all we have on the agenda, but I'd like to bring up one question, and that is,
You don't mind if I go, do you?
no, Tom, please go. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks for your help on the sign case too, the fiend case.
No problem.
Excuse me. We have 3 cases on for the 18th, 2 weeks from tonight. One of them, I have to recuse myself as it's a next door neighbor. So that leaves 4 of us. Do any of you know now that you won't be able to attend in 2 weeks?
I may not be able to, but I don't know yet.
Okay, if you could let me know, because I'll let the applicant know that, well, if Bruce, if everybody comes, we'll have 4. I plan to be there, but I'm recused on one of the cases. And if we know ahead of time, we can let them know. So I'll send out a usual message asking you if you're going to come as we get closer to the event. Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Very good. Well, thank you all very much tonight. See you in a couple of weeks. Just wait. What I'll do is I'll try to track down Bruce. I suspect he's out of town. I'll try to track him down. And if I get him to agree to it, I'll just circulate a vote and you'll all vote back to approve this, the application that we had on the Carson application. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
We'll vote online. All right. Thank you all
Thanks,
very
Jerry.
much. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.